Run us through your investment checklist.
In India, one of the primary criteria while making an investment is the quality of the management. So, the famous saying as regards investment goes like this. It says that price is what you pay, value is what you get. In the Indian context, people have modified it to say that price is what you pay, value is what the promoter will let you get. So, given that many a times the legal enforcement may not be very strong, the promoter group can get away with some blatant violations. So, first filter is management quality. After the management quality, the other item on the checklist is whether the business is good, and by good we mean that it earns a decent return on capital employed and doesn't require too much of capex and is able to generate free cash flow for the shareholders. And finally, one looks at the valuation and the growth prospects and things like whether there are entry barriers or there's some moat in the business.
Over the years, how has your checklist evolved?
As with most investors, in the earlier part of their career, they are focused on statistical measures and valuation takes a prime role. But as one goes along the journey, one finds out that sometimes things which look very cheap on the surface may have some hidden quality issues. So, over the journey, I have learned to play a slightly larger weightage to the quality aspects of a business as compared to pure statistical measures of cheapness.
What is your market outlook for FY21?
It's somewhat mixed. So, we are at somewhat elevated levels given that prices have moved up and given that earnings have not kept pace. So, the headline price to earning numbers, for example, look somewhat elevated. At the same time, we have an unprecedented situation globally where so much of money is trading at negative yields in terms of the bonds held by investors. So, given such low opportunity costs globally, there is this chase towards deploying money into positive yield assets and equities being one of them. So, that is keeping the valuations supported. So, it's neither a bubble kind of situation nor is it very cheap to enter into. So, I would expect a somewhat moderate return kind of environment.
Which sectors are you keeping a watch on?
Internet is one big theme as far as our investment goes. As is said that software is eating the world, and today every business is touched by internet in some manner or the other. So, internet related businesses are there in our investment portfolios. Private sector banks is another space where we have sizable investments, and then it's largely a bottom up stock picking portfolio.
What are the sectors one should avoid and why?
At this point in time, I think the consumption related names are very expensive relative to the overall market as well as their own historical past. So, things like FMCG stocks are what we are avoiding at this point in time in general.
Which risks are you monitoring currently?
So, risks can come out of nowhere, and largely when one is investing for the longer term, one tends to ignore some of the near term risks. So, one thing which is very topical today and last few days has been this coronavirus outbreak. However, we tend to ignore such events in our investment journey because we are looking at buying a piece of a business rather than trying to time the market or trying to predict the next 3 months, 6 months. So, the risks that we monitor is the longer term industry trends. For example, one clearly sees a sizable role for renewable energy in the future. So, that would be a risk for the coal based power plants and coal miners, for example. One is clearly seeing a trend somewhere in the future where electric vehicles will be a big portion of the automobiles market. So, that is something to watch out for in the traditional automakers.
Could you share your key investment learnings?
One learning, especially in the Indian context, is that there is a lot of role for the policy and for the for the judiciary to play in terms of the valuation of companies. So, in any regulated sector, one has to be very, very careful, and if possible, one should try and avoid those sectors. So, we have seen this repeatedly in sectors like telecom, power, roads, etc. So, one key learning has been that sometimes these stocks look very, very attractive based on valuation parameters, but there are some unforeseen risks which come out of nowhere. So, it's best to avoid such companies.
Your success factors?
I think any investor has to be disciplined in his or her approach, and one cannot have one strategy today and another strategy tomorrow and keep flitting from style to style. Any approach needs to be followed diligently. The other factor required is patience. So, equity investing is not a sphere where you can have success each and every day and each and every month. It's a probabilistic outcome based process. So, one has to have a slightly longer term time frame to evaluate successes and failures. And finally, one has to be a continuous learner. There should be innate curiosity in terms of how businesses operate and how the world operates, and one should keep continuously learning.
How do you keep the noise out while decision making?
So, if one is continuously glued on to the media which is short term in nature, so if one looks at the monitors and the news channels and newspapers every day, then one gets sucked into the short term news environment. Whereas if one, let's say, just picks up a weekly news magazine, then one can be updated as to what is happening, at the same time not get into too much of short termism in terms of looking at what's happening in the world. Also, reading books is better than reading let's say Twitter feed, for example. So, one has to consume media which is more longer term rather than be focused on shorter term media.
Who are the investors you admire? Why?
In the global context, one looks up to Mr. Buffett and Mr. Munger, who have run Berkshire Hathaway so well over the years. In the Indian context, someone I have learned from a lot has been Professor Sanjay Bakshi, who generously shares his ideas in various talks and blog posts, etc.